Hi everyone, this is Gladys Diaz with Heart's Desire International with a love chat with a love twin for today. And I know I've been a little quiet the last few couple weeks, and one is, as you know, it was anniversary week and towards the end of July. So my husband and I went away for a few days, just the two of us, which was so awesome to just be with him and just be a couple, no kids, for a few days. And then when we got back the next week, we took our kids on vacation for about 10 days. And so it's been really great to just be together as a couple, as a family. And every year during this time, I really get present to how grateful I am and how blessed I am. And I do, some introspection, and it's natural to think, okay, what is it that's making this work? Because 17 years is not something to shrug at. I know it's not as long as some people have been married, but it really is, for me, a blessing and an accomplishment to be this happily married after 17 years. And so, I started thinking about all the things that work and, how great it is and how happy I am. And then something happens. So, this past weekend, we had a dip, what I call a dip in the roller coaster. And we had an argument, which is not something that, thankfully, that my husband and I do often. But, any relationship, there's going to be disagreements and there's going to be times you don't agree. But then there's the arguments, the ones that fights that get loud. And in that argument, I said something that I regretted the second it came out of my mouth. There was something we were going to do. I was running around all day trying to get everything done so that we could do something together as a family. And I got home late and we couldn't do it. And I was upset and I was exhausted from running around, and I was hurt that, we couldn't still go do what we had been planning, because I'd been running around doing errands, just trying to make it work. And then my husband, he was like, no, it's not going to happen. And because I was upset and I was responding in an angry way, the words, "you're so selfish," came out of my mouth. And the moment they came out of my mouth, I'm like, what are you saying? Now, first of all, because I don't yell at my husband. It's not something we do, and especially not in front of the kids who also happen to be there. But second of all, because that is the most idiotic thing I could ever say. I mean, here's this man who's just taken me away for a few days for anniversary to the beach, which he hates. Taken our family away from vacation on a regular day. If I'm working late, he's feeding the kids. He's a complete partner in parenting. He supports me in my business, does everything that has anything to do with technology for my business. He's my best friend. He's always there for me. And what comes out of my mouth is, "you're so selfish." And the moment it did, there was like this just knowingness that I had just stuck my foot in it up to here. And I was really upset with myself. And instead of being vulnerable and apologizing, I became very victim-y and crying and went upstairs. And now I was upset with the situation, and I was upset with myself. When I got myself handled, I got myself under control. I said, okay, what's happening? Because this is not who you are. This is not who we are. And this is not what I'm committed to as a woman and as a wife. And I saw that really what there was instead of responding in a way that was vulnerable and just let him know, look, I'm hurt, or I feel exhausted, or, I felt also unappreciated. Like, I've done all this today and we're still not going to go. Instead of saying those things in a vulnerable and respectful way, like I responded in anger and frustration, and it cost me big time in terms of intimacy. And thankfully, I know the work that I teach works, and I went downstairs after a while, and I did apologize to my husband. Actually, I went upstairs and I apologized, and I had to give him the space and the time for him to get over it, because just because I was ready, and I apologized and I was ready to be forgiven, didn't mean that he was ready to kind of say everything was okay. And so it cost me about a day and a half of not being really connected with my best friend, my lover, my husband. And it's just not a price that I'm willing to pay. And, it's not something I ever want to do ever again, but I know that chances are it might. And I think it's important to share this. You know, it's not easy to share this as a relationship coach because people kind of think you've got it all together. And I always say I do not live in the land of lollipops and gumdrops and rainbows. Um, I live in the real world, and I'm a human being, and I slip from time to time. And while I don't ever want to do this on purpose, I did want to share this because if you are in a relationship and maybe you're struggling in your relationship, maybe it's about communication, maybe it's something else, or maybe there's a repetitive pattern that comes up when you're in a relationship or in your relationship or marriage, and you feel like it shouldn't be, and you beat yourself up about it. You know, there's going to be ups, there's going to be downs, there's going to be times when we slip up. The key is knowing what to do to restore the integrity, which is what I did with the apology, and then to recommit. And I'm really committed to not make that mistake again. I don't want to hurt my husband. I don't want to be disrespectful. And I certainly don't want to not be able to hug and kiss him at random and talk to him when I want to because of something that I've said or done. And thankfully, you know, he's the great unselfish man that he is. And he did forgive me. And, you know, we're back to being us. But I did want to share this with you because if you're struggling with communication, something in your relationship or marriage that's not working, know that perfection is not realistic. Two imperfect people coming together do not create perfection, but there are things that you can learn and do in order to communicate effectively. In this case, all I needed to do was be vulnerable. I'm tired. I really still want to go. I understand that I'm late and I would still like to go, and just made it about me instead of like throwing out blame, shame, and anger. That would have, in a second, it would have eliminated a day and a half of pain. So if you are struggling, if you have a question about communication, how to make your relationship work, if you're wondering if your relationship can even work again, go ahead, shoot me a quick email or put a comment below if you're watching this on YouTube or on the webpage, and just ask me a question, and I promise you, I will do everything that I can to help you because I want you to be happy. I want you to effectively communicate with the man that you love, and I want you to have all the love and happiness and peace in your life and in your relationship that your heart desires. So I can't wait to hear from you. And until our hearts meet again, remember, this is Gladys Diaz with Hearts Desire International. And until our hearts meet again, always remember that you are loved. Goodbye for now.